Now imagine getting chased by the biggest, meanest people or also you've ever seen. Picture that horror, that fear. Now multiply that by a factor of 10. That's what it felt like for people in the Wheel of Time when they were chased by Trollocs. But here's twist number one. Normally you would think that Trollocs are your typical inbred fantasy monsters, like orcs for example. But no, these guys were not born, they were made by one of the most insane scientific experiments in fantasy history. They are towering savage hybrid, part man, part beast. They tend not to just chase their victims, they hunt them. But where did these nightmares even come from? And why did they become the Dark One's favorite soldiers? Well, to answer that, we'll have to rewind for a bit. Thousands of years ago, humanity was at its peak, the age of legends, magic, technology, and knowledge, all in perfect harmony. It was humanity at God tier level. But of course, when things are perfect, there's always one idiot who says, let's play God a little bit. Enter Ageno. Brilliant scientist taught madman doing the war of power. What did he do? Nothing major really. He just makes humans with animals using the one power because apparently, when civilization peaks, step one is flying cars and step two is genetic horror show. And boom! Trollocs were born, standing at an 8 to 10 feet tall height, muscles stuck like bricks, some with claws, others with hooves, and if you're really unlucky, you could come by with horns or snout. Some even had feathers or patches of fur. Either way, they all look like a 3 a.m. nightmare. But here's the scary part. The animal parts weren't cosmetic. Both variants were smarter, sometimes even able to speak clearly. The bears, they were freaking tanks. Some could track by scent, and all of them could see better at night. In a battle, they were like an unstoppable tidal wave to the troops. These mofos didn't fight fair. They basically just overwhelmed armies with pure numbers and brutality. And let's not forget the teeth and the claws. If you saw them coming, you were not surviving the night, bruv. But here's the catch. They weren't perfect. Thankfully, these guys, they could sing, but apparently their IQ was like one level above that of a normal goat. They could talk, but most of the time it was gibberish. And the worst trick of all, they didn't need laboratories. After they were created by Ageno, they could now just breed on their own. So Ageno didn't just create monsters, he created a plague. Sometimes though, the experiment glitched, bringing forth something infinitely worse than Trollocs. The murderer, the half-men, half Trollocs but faster, sharper and better. Eyeless fades in black clothes that made even the Trollocs piss themselves. Think of it like this. The Trollocs are the wolves, but the murderers are the handlers, whispering terror into their bone. The Trollocs became the backbone of the Shadows army. They poured out of the blight, devouring everything in their path. Entire nations fell before their numbers during the War of the Shadow. And even thousands of years later, long after the War of Power ended, they are still here, festering in the blight, breathing in twisted holes, waiting for the Dark One's call. So the next time you do see one on screen, don't just think of them as faceless CGI monsters. Think about the horror of their origin, the arrogance of the men in the Age of Legends who believed they could reshape life itself. Think about Aghaor standing over his creations, proud of the twisted legacy he unleashed. And remember, monsters don't always crawl out of the dark on their own. Sometimes a stupid old man makes them. Until next time, the wheel waves as the wheel wheels.